Hello, this is Mohammed's Pizza and Terror Shop.
Oh, hi. I'd like to order pizza, please.
Are you a racist?
No, silly. I'm the captain.
What kind of pizza you want?
How about a meat lovers? I love meat.
It is halal meat lovers. Very, very good. Very, very good.
Is he tall, dark, or handsome?
No, halal is meat. Very good. Very, very good.
Oh, I love Italian sausage.
We don't have sausage.
Oh, I'll take a little pepperoni then. That always reminds me of Darth.
We don't have pepperoni.
Oh, you know what? Never mind. I'll head over to Slim's to get some Jim. Bye.
Mohammed, who was that?
Maybe racist.
Would you like Russian dressing on your pizza?
No, that's not how you make pizza. Let me show you.
Could use some good vodka, you know?
First you take the onions and you chop them. Look, chop, 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 chop. And pick it up.
Okay.
Don't cry. Don't cry. And you throw it on pizza like this. There you go.
What about the meat?
Now you take the meat like this. You throw it on. Throw it, throw it, throw it.
What, like this?
No, too soft, Boris. Too soft.
I just want to put it on there, nice.
Must tenderize it, so you have to tenderize it by throwing it. Now you put it in the oven.
How about the cheese?
No cheese.
Should we put cheese, like American cheese, since it's American?
No American cheese. We don't like American cheese. Put goat cheese on.
I don't like goats.
Goat cheese, yes, that's good. Now put it in the oven. Don't burn yourself. I don't have insurance for you. That's how you make pizza, Boris.
Hey, what's up?
What you want?
Can I use the bathroom?
Are you going to buy something?
No, I didn't bring any money.
No public restroom here.
Come on, I really gotta go bad.
I said no.
Batman.
I wouldn't let Allah use my toilet.
Is that your brother or something?
No.
Pretty please.
No public toilet.
Fine. See if I do any crime fighting in this neighborhood again.
Hello, Mohammed's Pizza and Terror Shop.
Do you deliver in Canada, eh?
No, we don't deliver to Canada.
Oh, come on, eh? I'll give you a good tip, eh?
Your money is no good here.
Mohammed, you're going to lose all your customers if you don't sell a few pizzas.
Don't worry, I sold 2 today.
Oh, that's good. Who'd you sell to?
Me, I'm a good customer. Now go back there and cut some onions or something. I don't pay you to stand around.
But you don't pay me at all.
Then turn on the radio and put on that stupid guy.
Oh, that's a good idea.
The John Lebang Show has been known to make people laugh, sing, think, scream, throw things in rage, and generally lose their minds. Listener discretion is advised.
Worldwide and out to the greater universe, you're listening to the John Lebang Show.
Greetings, friends, acquaintances, passerbys, weirdos, and haters. Welcome to the show that is hosted by the most effective nobody in the Milky Way, guaranteed to enrage some and be ignored by others. Scientifically proven to cause chronic brain cell rejuvenation over long periods of exposure. Not for the intelligently challenged or the humorly impaired. Buckle up, my friends. Welcome. The show is about to begin. And after a crazy week, we're back in the saddle right here. Mom had surgery this week, lots in the news, whole bunch of things to kind of gather our thoughts around. We had the 3 mad trolls we had to deal with this week on top of Mom being in the surgery. Everything's fine for all those who are concerned. Mom just had a procedure, and I think she's coming up on some kind of world record, and I might want to contact Guinness to see if she's even closing in, because she's had an awful lot of procedures lately, and maybe she can become famous for it. As I said earlier, we had the 3 mad trolls we're going to talk about later on. We also have some reenacting the news. Some people like that segment, so if you're ready for that, just hang on there. We'll do that a little later. And whatever mischief that we can find ourselves getting into. But this hour we begin with the coronavirus. Recent news has stated that 86 people died of coronavirus in one day as Beijing begins, and this is crazy, and not so out of the realm of possibility, because the banger was telling you we can't trust what the Chinese are going to do. But they're beginning to round up people. There are videos showing up with government officials in their hazmat suits, or a form of a hazmat suit. It's got that little tie-back suit. They got the masks on. They're all covered. And they're even dragging people out of their homes. Now, this disturbing video surfaced showing that, and it's making its rounds on the inner tubes. Saturday officials confirmed, and this is China now, so we have to take that with a grain of salt, that 722 coronavirus deaths have happened in mainland China. Last week, the country's central government ordered the city, get this, to round up all patients now suspected of having coronavirus and all of their closest contacts. So if you're just friends with somebody who got coronavirus or who is suspected of having coronavirus, and they built these, I guess, internment camps of sorts where they're putting or housing a lot of these people. But if you've seen the pictures, this isn't some contained facility. It looks like it's just some big venue that they just got beds and it's open. There's fencing around. There's a roof, but it's not like it's some kind of hospital. And as I've said many times before, the idea that China is giving actual numbers, or at least our media is given actual numbers by the Chinese and U.S. officials, and all this is based on Chinese numbers. So how accurate is that? The doctor who warned about the coronavirus, he's gone now. He's passed away. We've got boats, cruise ships, with people carrying coronavirus, and now all that's shut down. Those are almost the best way to contain that, unfortunately. Maybe all those people are going to get it, but if a boat's out at sea and coronavirus goes spreading around, leave the boat out there, unfortunately. Now, some little reported news on this and the quarantine has just surfaced. Ladies and gentlemen, up to 5 million people left the quarantine zone before the government could quarantine them. And according to officials from China, it is definitely too late. In other words, no matter what their quarantine was, what the purposes behind it, because you're hearing all kinds of theories on what is happening in China. Every conspiracy theory you can come up with has surfaced since this thing has become a regular news item, and actually a little bit before. I don't know what's going on. There's a lot of suspicious things, and it's happening in China. But Chinese officials are saying there were 5 million people who escaped, who got out before the quarantine happened. And where they think these people went is also following the pattern of the spreading. So these people who escaped, some of them had it. As it's very much like The Stand. If you've read the Stephen King book or want to get a quick overview quickly of it, you can go on YouTube, and I believe they have the entire made-for-TV movie there, and you can knock it out in about 5 or 6 hours. But it's very much like The Stand, the beginning of it, where the virus, somebody got the virus, they escaped the quarantine zone, they took off, they went running before the quarantine zone was actually in full effect, and it spread from there. And it continued to spread and continued to spread and became a pandemic. And now we're getting these little tidbits saying, sure, we're trying to control what's in this zone here. And it looks like, unfortunately, that these are going to be very much, I don't know how else to say it, but it might be these death camps that they're building. Because even if you don't have it and you had an association with somebody, they're rounding you up, putting you in there with everyone else. The chances of you getting it now have greatly increased. And if you can't keep up your immune system, and who knows how well these people are being fed and how all these people that are being rounded up. And I don't have numbers on that. I'm not sure there are numbers on that, official numbers. But we've at least got a quarantine of over 100 million people now. 100 million people. And they're rounding people up and they're throwing them in these little, I don't know what else to call it, but little camps. And even if you're not sick, you're going because you were associated with them. So you're going to get it, right? If you're thrown into a camp with everybody who's sick, and there's no way to keep your immune system up, because how can you get healthy food down to these people? And when the country's, 100 million people, you're shutting down a good portion of the country. And some of these are big cities, folks. Big cities. And in one of the previous hours, we had a little fun with the spray that says it kills coronavirus. And the talking of masks and how do we keep ourselves, from getting or reducing the risk of catching it. And I'm no medical expert, not at all. But what I am an expert on is I've sold protective masks in one of the professions that I've been in for 30 years. I've had plenty of training on these masks, not the surgical masks, but I went ahead and did some research on them. Now, I've spent all these years selling these respirator masks with the cartridge filters. And what a lot of people do not know is once you peel that plastic off of them and the air begins to hit it, you only have about 8 hours of use. And if you don't put that thing in a plastic bag and zip it up, that 8 hour of use is happening whether you're wearing the mask or not. So if you just leave your mask out, you go out in public with the mask, you do your thing for let's say 2 or 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. Then you come back and you take off the mask and you put it down and you don't put it in a plastic bag so airflow is still allowed to pass through that. In 4 hours, that mask or those cartridges and those filters are no longer doing their job. They've been used up. That's how quick those respirators get used up. Now, surgical masks, which is far thinner, has less in between you and the outer world. From what I can understand, there's a 4-hour use time on those. After 4 hours, they're pretty much done. And from my understanding, it takes the same principles as the cartridge. If they're out and they're exposed, airflow's going through them, which means 4 hours they're no good. So when you're if you're going to buy these masks to protect yourself, which there's been different arguments on how effective they are and how effective they're not. What you can do to prevent yourself from getting this. From what I can tell, the best thing is to keep your immune system up. And if for some reason you catch the damn thing, quarantine yourself. And if you're going to go out in public, and you're going to use masks in public, take what I've told you into consideration. Those big, thick cartridge masks are done in 8 hours once they're getting any airflow, not just your breathing. So if you just put that mask down in 8 hours, it will not be effective. And this is training that I've had for 30 years. Any expert in this will tell you that. And I don't claim to be an expert, but I have training in this. I've had to sell these masks. And when I looked into the surgical masks and the dust masks, you only have so much airflow that you're allowed to. That's why these dust masks come in bags. You take one out and you close the bag up. Little plastic bag. They have a box around it on top of it. That's why you keep it in there. You pull all those masks out, even if you don't put it on, they're done. So just a little advice for somebody who had a little training in that, who spent some time researching the surgical masks as well as all the dust masks. And with that being said, I think we'll take our first break. On the other side of this, we're going to get into a little bit, the last probably segments of the aftermath of impeachment. So stay tuned. We'll be right back, folks. Right here on the John Lebang Show. Woo, yeah.
Hey, Uncle Shady, where are they going? Hey, you, get back here. The John Lebang Show will be right back.
Are you in need of commercial or residential window cleaning? Do you need your office cleaned? Maybe custodial work? How about some gutter cleaning? If you do, then call Pane in the Glass. For a beautiful shine that's crystal clear, call Pane and the Glass. You can find them on Facebook at Pane and the Glass. You're listening to the John Lebang Show.
It's better than an eye-reader convention.
Well, the aftermath of the impeachment has been a sight to see. Not only to see the complete meltdown of the group of people who wanted to see the president removed from office, and the bloating and inflated chest pumping of the people, including the president, because they won. But in the aftermath, we are finally seeing some action taken on cleaning out the remnants of the Obama administration, which I said should have been done a long time ago. None of this would have happened if Trump was proactive when he got into office and just got rid of all the holdovers. Just get rid of them. But for whatever reason, whether it was his lack of understanding, his lack of interpreting how his opponents would handle, maybe his lack of understanding of the deep state, which is incredible, being that was one of his primary campaign promises, and that was to clean the swamp. You would have known, I mean, some of us, and Trump, you make some of us wonder how brilliant you actually are, because you should have known that there was going to be lots and lots of blowback from the people who were in the swamp that you claim you were going to get rid of. Now, we haven't had a whole lot of swamp cleaning, and there's a lot of people that were really hoping for some massive swamp cleaning by now, but it hasn't exactly happened. And because it hasn't happened, a lot of the people who were deep supporters of cleaning up the deep state, and I see them on the YouTubes and the other places I watch the fallout and the sides bicker between each other, because I attempt to stay neutral. But the fallout and the aftermath of all this is that the Democrat side is outraged, thinks there's some giant cover-up going on. And of course, the president feels exonerated. He pumped his chest in a little celebratory sit down at the White House the other day. And after the amazing State of the Union events, everything from Trump giving a pretty decent speech, you can argue some of the things like this, how well the State of the Union is, which I disagree with him. He said it's strong. Maybe the state of the economy is strong, and that could be used as a crutch for saying the State of the Union is strong. But we're divided. We're not anywhere closer to becoming a united country. Although after the polls, or after the impeachment, and the Democrats should really take heed to what is going on. Because there's sometimes when you overplay your hand, when you become the boy who cries wolf one too many times. I think that's where we're at right now, because I don't think the American people are going to believe, even if a real conspiracy thing happens with Trump, I think the Democrats have done way too much to accuse this guy of things that nobody's going to believe them. But that's just my take on it. But you would think after all these investigations, a Mueller investigation, the FBI, wiretapping, like Trump said, see, a lot of people forget that actually happened. And they count that as a Trump lie when he said he was being wiretapped. Well, he was. The FISA documents prove that. So all you haters out there, you have to, if you're truly fair people, which most of them aren't, they're completely biased. We've got the hardcore lefts and the hardcore rights. And sometimes those people in the middle feel like those are the people that control everything. And they shouldn't. But once the FISA documents came out, it was reported on CNN. The left wing's favorite site, the left wing's favorite media source. And they can't be objective and go, okay, we need to take that off the lie category for Trump. He may exaggerate things, whatever. But when your own media that you follow tells us that the FISA court illegally granted warrants to wiretap, to surveil communications with Trump associates who would in turn talk to Trump, then you have to, if you're an objective person, take that out of the lie column. And that's the problem right now. We're so locked in our hatred of the other side. And how can you hate an American? We're fellow Americans here, but I don't know why these people hate so much. They're fellow Americans. And you know the worst part about this? It's not going to go away, because the Dems have already said they're going to plow ahead with more probes into Trump. They love probes. They love probes. Why don't they probe some other things? They never probe themselves. See, that's one of the biggest problems I have with the political parties. And it was just last hour that I said we should get rid of political parties. Because these political parties never investigate themselves for corruption. They always want to investigate their opponents. So it doesn't matter how corrupt their guys are, what kind of quid pro quos they do, what kind of dirty deals they make. It's not like all Democrats, ladies and gentlemen, are squeaky clean and Trump is the filthiest guy on the planet. Trump may have a dirty side, but I can guarantee you, Nancy Pelosi has one, Joe Biden has one, Barack Obama has one, Senator Schumer has one. All politicians have dirt. But here's the thing. I wonder how all these other politicians, Pelosi, Schumer, Feinstein, Mitch McConnell, all of them, would stand up to the amount of scrutiny that has been placed on Donald Trump. Donald Trump is the most investigated person in the world. He's had a 2-year probe by Mueller. He had the FBI and other agencies surveil him. He had opposition research bought and paid for by the Clinton team and the Democrat Party, which ended up being a lot of BS. But regardless, that investigation, then we had an impeachment probe, which had 18 witnesses, 17 that were public. And I laugh when people say there were no witnesses. You don't even know the Constitution, do you? It was the House job to gather the evidence from witnesses before they got to the Senate. And the Senate only calls if you need them. And the Dems case was crap, whether you like it or not. It was garbage. But we have the impeachment investigation into holding back a little bit of money for a couple of weeks to a foreign nation who is known for corruption. But they still got the money. They still got advanced weaponry to fight them bad Russians. Kind of opposite of what the Obama administration did, isn't it? First, the Obama administration, as they're running for re-election, there's Obama and Medvedev sitting together, and on a hot mic he tells Obama, tells Medvedev, tell Putin over there, tell Vlad that I'll have more flexibility after the election. Now, what did that mean? Well, let's see what happened after the election. Obama gets reelected. See, I know the time. We were going to talk about this timeline in past episodes, but I didn't have time to do it. So we're going to do a quick overview of it. Obama gets reelected after telling Medvedev to tell Putin that he'll have more flexibility after the elections. Then we condemn the president of the Ukraine. Not so long after that, uprisings happened by guess who? There's some Soros money there and some other little efforts on U.S. part. So we basically help the people topple the government. The Russians come in, annex Ukraine. Then Ukraine people vote on becoming part of Russia, or the Crimea people do. All the while, Obama administration, what are they doing? They're giving them wet blankets. Well, they may not have been wet, but they're giving them blankets and maybe some food to defend themselves against Russian aggression. Then Biden goes in there some years later while his son is working for a corrupt oligarch. Biden threatens the then current president that they're going to withhold $1 billion in aid if they don't fire a prosecutor who just happens to be looking into the business of the corrupt oligarch. Guy gets fired 6 hours later. He brags on TV or on video over at the Council on Foreign Relations. We've played that clip many times. So I'm not going to bore you with playing the clip again. But the Democrats don't want to investigate that. That was just a basic quick timeline. Obama gets reelected. They help force out a president and uprisings happen. Next thing you know, it's annexed. Crimea becomes part of Russia. Biden's make some sweetheart deals and threaten a quid pro quo. And we're supposed to believe the Trumpster is more corrupt than any of the other politicians that have been in government for who knows how long. Trump is more corrupt than Nancy Pelosi. Although Nancy's made a fortune at being a politician and through sweetheart deals and stuff. Trump makes a phone call talking to a president, and no other president. I would love to see all these politicians have that kind of investigation placed on them and see how they hold up to that scrutiny. I think a lot of them would actually go to jail. More than impeached, go to jail. So when you get mad, when you get all upset, when you're all thinking the corrupt Donald Trump is running the government, he gets out of it, just remember he's only been there a little over 3 years. How long have all those other politicians been in there? And like I've said before, you can go ahead and get rid of Trump. Send all those other suckers with him. All of them. Clean the government out from top to bottom. I'm all for that. Because I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. Never will be. At least a Democrat. I'll give my haters something to think about there. Like, oh, he might be a Republican one day. Anyways, folks, we're going to take a quick time out. Already halfway through the show. Can't believe it. We're rushing through like it's a hurricane zipping through Florida. We'll be right back. Stay tuned.
Don't move a muscle.
The John Lebang Show will be right back.
With lots of fun and excitement. Yes!
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is your one-stop shop for tuxedos and men's quality suits. We go the extra mile to make sure your tux or suit is the perfect fit. Our huge selection is second to none in the state.
Looking good.
Outstanding customer service.
And we're located on Dix Toledo in Southgate. Call today, 734-285-3253.
Jim's Tuxedo and Menswear is the place to be.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to Jim's Tuxedos and Menswear.
You know I had to come to the best.
That's right.
Hey, man, it's at the bottom of the hour, man. Do you know where your kids are, man?
If you want to contact the John Lebang Show, feel free to send an email to jlebang@live.com. And if you're on Twitter, look him up at John Lebang. And don't forget to go to his Facebook page at The John Lebang Show. Banger. Now here's John.
You know, I honestly can't believe I forgot to talk about this in the first two segments, but I was on a roll, and sometimes when I've got all the juices flowing, I forget a few things. Remember a few years, back in the last election, when the Democrats ripped off Bernie Sanders from being the candidate for the Democrat Party? Completely ripped him off. There are signs, by the way, the Ohio caucus is showing that there are signs that they're going to try to rip off Bernie once again. Because Bernie has the most ambitious and excited fan base and support group out of all the Democrats, because that is one of the most boring bunch of people in the history of politics. Nobody's exciting except for Bernie. Just happens to be that he's more of an outsider and he's not really a Democrat. And Carville and a whole bunch of other people are scared to death that Bernie is going to be the nominee for the Democrat Party. And they're going to try to work, and I'm telling you, mark my words, folks, if they can steal it from Bernie, they will, just like they did it in 2016. That's because Hillary was the anointed one then. Now there's really not an anointed one, and you can't use that as cover. This one is going to be obvious, and you Democrats, especially you Bernie supporters, you should know that he was ripped off last time. And you should have cleaned up that corruption in the Democrat Party. Don't worry about Republicans and Trump when your own party is doing what they're doing. The only way to clean up corruption is to clean it up yourself. And the only way you can clean it up yourself if it's yours. You're not going to clean up the Republicans except through probes and investigations. And we've seen how that's worked out. The Democrats have lost everything that they've thrown up against Trump from the very beginning. Anybody, this coup, and that's what it was when you had Comey and Strzok and Page and McCabe and all these people working against the president. And before he was president, on top of that. In fact, we're probably going to see, hopefully, now that Trump is, and it's unfortunate because you don't want a guy to be too emboldened. But Trump being acquitted is going to embolden him. He's already taken some action over there. He's fired Vindman and Vindman's brother. As we covered a few weeks ago, Vindman himself had much closer ties to Russia than President Trump did. But nobody wanted to talk about that because he was a decorated soldier. Decorated soldier. We'll talk about soldiers later on. Because not all of them should be appreciated. Just because you are a soldier doesn't make you holier than thou. That's all I'm going to say. But to get back to Bernie, because I want Bernie as the Democrat nominee. Not because I support Bernie Sanders in any way. I do not. But I don't like it when somebody is ripped off. And that's exactly what happened last election in the Democrat primary. And I believe in the Iowa caucus, and the poll right before the Iowa caucus suggests something dirty is going on over there on the Democrat side. They want to run the country and they can't even get the crappy little Iowa caucus correct. That in itself is troubling, folks, and should put a big red flag on everything. Maybe we don't want them Democrats running the country, running the most powerful economy and the most powerful military in the world. They can't even get a caucus correct in a small state like Iowa. Personally, I think they got results they didn't like. Bernie Sanders wins. And they manufactured a problem to delay the results, to skew the results, to postpone the results. So here's what I'm going to do for Bernie, because I think he deserves to be the Democrat presidential candidate. I do believe that. We're going to start Operation Geezer right here on the John Lebang Show. Being primary season coming up, I'm going to ask all the people who are in very strong Trump states, and you can vote in the Democrat primary because the rules in your state apply to that. That's what you can do here in the state of Michigan. So Trump is strong here. There's no need to vote Republican on my end of the deal or any of my listeners. So I suggest let's help Bernie out, because I would love a Trump-Bernie battle. It'd be the battle of the hair. It'd be great. Can you imagine what great radio is in store for you, my listeners? Because Bernie and Donald are the two nominees for their parties. Just the accompanying hair jokes are going to be great. But I don't want to be selfish. I want to help Bernie Sanders out. So we're starting Operation Geezer right here. And we're asking our listeners who know that Trump is going to clearly win as a Republican in the primary to take their vote and put it towards Bernie if their state allows them to vote in the Democrat primary, which mine here does. So I'm going to put my vote behind Bernie. That should, I'm just saying, those people who accuse me of being a Republican and who accuse me of being biased or unfair or whatever else you're accusing me of, that should show that I'm quite fair. And I'm willing to vote for a Democrat when the Democrat definitely deserves to win his election on his side of the aisle. And Bernie has the biggest crowds, has the most support, has the most enthusiasm there on the left. And I think he was treated extremely unfair during the 2016 election. I can't believe he kept his mouth shut about it, but there's a lot of powerful influencers there in Washington, D.C., and especially on the Democrat Party. Operation Geezer is now in full effect here on the John Lebang Show. And I'm hoping that you will join me in those states that voting for Trump really doesn't matter because he's going to win the Republican candidacy anyways, to help Bernie get elected. Because that would be an incredible election season, not only for the hair, but then watching the Democrats get ultimately vanquished politically in one fell swoop. Whoosh. One fell swoop. They'd be done. Then maybe we can work on the Republican Party to get rid of them. And we can have no parties in this country. And we can just vote on the damn individual and not their affiliation. Because I don't know how many people I've talked to on both sides of the aisle, and all they do is vote straight party ticket. I'm going to vote Democrat. I'm going to vote Republican. And that's all they do. They just vote because it's easier to, take that straight part. Oh, I just got to circle in one circle there. Oh, that was hard. I'm done voting, everybody. Yeah, we could be coming up on an important time in the history of this country. Many changes are going to be happening. We could either end up in some kind of civil war because some people are not going to accept the election. They're already not accepting the acquittal. They didn't accept the last election. They didn't accept the Mueller report. All of it's whatever. All this investigation means nothing to the people who are convinced without any evidence that they've seen in their dirty little hands, and they've only got it from those malpractice media types. And that really burns me, you guys. All the people that are so mad that Trump was acquitted, mad about this, Trump's that. You know who you should be mad at? Not little people like myself, not at Trump. You should be really pissed off at the media sources that you put your faith in, who have fed you a bunch of hope and whatever else, all this falsities to get you guys all worked up to when this all failed, when it all collapsed. Every time it collapsed, Trump won. That was a collapse. You guys, you lost your mind. The Mueller report didn't go the way you wanted. You lost your mind. Now the impeachment, same thing. It's not Trump or Trump supporters that you should be mad at. It's those sources that told you information that made you believe that something was one way when it clearly wasn't that way. Be mad at those sources of information that told you falsities or half-truths or skewed the truth for a political bias. Be mad at them. And if you're truly, as you would say, open-minded, as I would say, fair and critical thinkers, come to us, spend time over here, don't hate on us, listen to what we have, and then go search it out to make sure we've got the truth. And I'm telling you, if you find anything that I'm wrong on, and don't send me an article that says I'm wrong. No, I want documented fact. Show me a official document, not from some news source, that shows that I'm wrong. I'll come on here and tell you I'm wrong then. I have no problem. But the problem with a lot of people out there is that they believe what they are told because this is something that's reaffirming their beliefs. Doesn't mean their beliefs are right. See, the truth and belief are two different things. You can believe whatever you want. The truth is there. Okay? And in this impeachment, ladies and gentlemen, this entire impeachment, what was presented as evidence was nothing but hearsay and people who were Obama holdovers who were looking to protect their job and maybe even something bigger like corruption. But whatever it was, they were looking out for themselves and to dismantle a guy who was elected, whether you like him or not. The people who elected him sent him there to clean out the swamp. And if he's for real, which I've stated on many occasions, Trump's either for real or he's part of the larger deception. I haven't been able to pick which one it is yet. I don't know what it is. But when the whole establishment comes bearing down on a guy, listen very closely, my Democrat friends, my liberal friends, the progressives out there, when everybody comes down on a guy, and then in the end, all the investigations, all the public knowledge, all the verifiable resources that we can go and see say otherwise, you've got to start questioning who and why, who these people are that are giving you this information and why are they doing it. We've got to take a time out. Look at that. 3 segments in the can. One more for this episode.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
Because the John Lebang Show will be right back
after this.
That's guaranteed. Yes. Absolute Skin and Body Care, located in Livonia, Michigan. If you're in need of laser hair removal, skin care, laser tattoo removal, or laser hair regrowth, call Absolute Skin and Body Care. They're located at 37625 Ann Arbor Road, Suite 105 in Livonia, Michigan. Their phone number is 248-533-0448. Absolute Skin and Body Care. Give them a call. You're listening to the John Lebang Show. It's huge. Now I got to tweet about it. Now with a little news roundup. New Jersey high school basketball coach attacked by his own players. Come on, boys. We got to stop picking on our own teammates now. Can't help it. He's stupid.
Shut it, coach.
Don't pick on him.
Come on, let's get him. Get him. Next time we play basketball, you put me on the call ball. That's it, that's it, that's it.
Erectile dysfunction pills can permanently distort your vision.
How has your ED been?
Oh, that's been great, dog. That little boo pill's done a hell of a job. It's done such a great job that now I see 3 boobs. I can't feel them, but I see 3 boobs every time I see my wife.
A mysterious object 500 million light years away has baffled scientists after transmitting signals that hit Earth every 16 days. Scientists do not know what is causing this phenomenon, but it's being recognized as the first reliable pattern of fast radio burst in deep space. 500 million light years away. Now let me do some math. That's about, by the time light gets here, it's about, 500 million years by then? If anyone was alive sending them, they'd be long gone by now. But you gotta love how the malpractice media makes it sound like there's some kind of galactic hockey game going on.
Oh, look. There's a signal coming from outer space.
Yes, let's tune in and see if the Andromeda astroplanes beat the cosmic cosmonauts.
The headline should read, Distant radio signals baffle scientists because they don't know what it is because it's too damn far away. On Wednesday, Trump was acquitted, and I made a famous post on which brought in the trolls. But all I did was post a article, and my comment was, not guilty, because that's what happened. It was a non-biased comment. It was the facts. Not guilty. Well, I had 3 trolls decide to come out. If you make a comment on something I post, normally I'm all cool with that. You know, whether it's a video, a news article, a personal commentary, that's fine. But I reserve the right to reply to any and all comments. Now, there are a lot of things that I'm accused of being a Republican for. Filthy Republican. That's one hell of a way to start a conversation, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to engage in free and open, fair talk, the first thing you should do is impugn the person you're going to attack. You're a filthy Republican! Up next, ladies and gentlemen, let's bring on the activist group, the 3 Mad Trolls. Let me introduce you to Sycophant Scott, Communist Kate, and Erica X.
John, since when did you become a filthy Republican?
Who says I'm a Republican?
Oh, but you support Trump.
The evidence was all fabricated. It was a bunch of bullcrap. I'm standing up for him because I don't want that done to me.
Democracy died that day.
You mean socialism died? The impeachment was bogus from the start. In fact, after this latest attempt to destroy President Trump, the Dems have become the party who cried wolf one too many times. The American people are going to ignore the haters from now on. Mark my words. Trump is probably going to win big in November.
Don't you twist my words, you know. I don't sit here and blow smoke up anybody's butt, you know, unless I have a chance to do it. I don't try to lead people to false conclusions. That's because we already come to that conclusion without anybody leading us there.
Scott, you said democracy. That's not mishandling your words or anything. I just corrected your statement. Then I spoke generally on the impeachment and what has come from it.
And now have you know that I'm a constitutionalist. It's country over party. Your assumptions about me is just that they're assumptions, yeah.
Now, if you're a constitutionalist, then why even bring up democracy when the Constitution clearly states that the United States is a representative republic and not a democracy?
You got any more of that stuff you smoking?
Oh, it's not a trial without documents or witnesses. If you have above an 8th grade education, you would know this.
The Constitution is clear on the roles of the House and the Senate. The House does the investigation, and the House investigated by interviewing or getting witness testimony, whatever you want to call it, from 18 different people. They had hearings on television. They subpoenaed evidence, although technically it wasn't properly subpoenaed because they didn't have a vote to have the impeachment till after they did the impeachment hearings, which is totally ass backwards from not only every other impeachment out there, but constitutionally. So an 8th grader that you're claiming should know this, knows that there were already documents and witness produced in the House. By the time it gets to the Senate is the trial. There's arguments at the beginning, and you go ahead and see if those are worthy of bringing in more witnesses. Then they had a vote. And what do you think those days upon days of Adam Schiff and Nadler and the rest of the Democrats that brought the charges forward to the Senate, where do you think all that testimony and all that video came from? Those were witnesses. Most of them, if not all, were hearsay. And the one guy, Sonderland, who did have direct first-hand information from the president, said no quid pro quo, Trump wanted nothing. You didn't want to hear that, right? You missed that part of the impeachment trial? You missed that part of the impeachment hearings in the House? You see, we covered that on the show. So a fifth grader would know that there were already witnesses called. Thousands of pieces of documentation were presented. The Senate said, we don't need any more witnesses because the House brought forth a bogus impeachment motivated by strictly partisan politics.
I think Mitt Romney was correct. The only honest senator in the U.S. Senate, including all the Democrats. It's a shame all others chose to lie.
Gotta love when somebody invokes Romney's name, even though they hated him when he was running against Obama.
Who are you anyways? I don't think I've ever heard of you.
Oh, go frack yourself, you propagandist hack.
There's his Nancy Pelosi moment. Goodbye, you all. Don't ever come back. Now that our three guests have left us, let's go out to the phones. Shady, you've been waiting a long time. What say you?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call, John. You said earlier that the Dems don't probe themselves. You forgot one thing in your analyzation.
I did?
Those San Franners. Probing to them is a lifestyle.
You've got a point. Thanks for your call, Shady. Captain, you're on line 2. What say you?
Oh, I love probes. And whips. And beads. You know, I'm really open to anything.
Thanks for sharing.
Bye.
And your call. Our next call goes out to Pedro in Los Angeles.
I'd like to make a confession if I can, man.
Confession? Like you're an illegal immigrant or something?
No, man, I'd never admit to that, man. Oh, I went to hell, man.
To hell?
It was hot and everything, man. Even hotter than a habanero, man.
Man, those are hot.
Yeah, man, I talked to the chick in charge, man.
Chick?
She was hot and everything. Well, everything's hot down there, man, like I said, man. And now, I'm back, man.
Okay, sir. Seek psychiatric help, and thanks for your call. Next call coming in from Washington, D.C. We've got Ditzy on line 2. What say you?
You should talk to the baby mama about probing. Everyone in the metro area has probed her at least once, John.
Thanks, Ditzy, for your call.
Bye.
Back out to Washington, D.C. and to the Donald. What say you?
The probes are over. I'm acquitted, John. It's huge for me. I mean our country, John.
Yeah, you had a great week.
If you want to know who I'm going to fire next, just check out my Twitter. Hashtag, it's going to be huge.
All right, sir. Thanks for your call. Up next, we have Boris in Moscow, Michigan.
Hello. Many time caller. Thank you for having me back on. I heard you talk about the men who go blind by taking little blue pill.
Yeah, we covered that story earlier.
As this keeps up, this will become some kind of epidemic or something. Like every woman who touches your schmeckle makes you go blind.
Good point. Thanks for your call.
Like your show, yes. Good show. Goodbye.
Bernie, you're up next.
Thanks for your support.
Well, we're not supporting you, Bernie, exactly. We just think you're being ripped off, and we want to help out.
Whatever.
Thanks for your call. Down to Tampa, Florida. Cora, you're up next.
Son, I wish you would quit doing this show. You suck. Suck, I say you suck.
If I suck so bad, then why do you keep calling?
It's because I've nothing better to do.
Okay, thanks for your call. Out to Chicago, we have Pepper. You've got the last word.
I just won't reply to that stupid hoe. Ain't not everyone probe me, babies, but I'll be trying.
And thanks for your call. Well, folks, look at the time. We have knocked out an entire hour of sonic vibrations. Don't forget to go to our website, www.jlebang.com. I'd like to thank all of our affiliate stations that carry the show, and of course, you, my dear listeners, who tune in each and every week, send me those really nice emails. I mean, I just get thousands of them. They outweigh all the bad emails, and I just can't thank you enough. And until the vibrations of my vocal cords reach your ears again, this is John Lebang signing off from the Banger Studios.
T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We have liftoff. Tune in again next week, Same time, same space, same station.